As much as I'm like, well, come on, this is manufacturing consent and this is kind of jingoistic and he's actually not correct. This is kind of pseudo historical at best. I'm a sucker as soon as that sword comes out. Son, are you kidding me? I want that sword forged in iron and steel myself, okay? Teach me more. Tell me more about what this country was founded on. It wasn't founded on slave owners. I don't want to know about that. They didn't have slaves. They didn't rape the slaves on a repeated basis. No, they're heroes. They're all you know. Now, I know a lot of people are like, Lance, you do the greatest voices. Lance, I love how you do the funny with the sounds and the voice. This may surprise you. I don't do a convincing Arnold Schwarzenegger at all. So I'm afraid to say, for this next segment, there will be no Arnold Schwarzenegger impersonations on the behalf of myself. To all the Austrians in the audience, you're welcome. You're welcome. I have basically given you a gift. All right? That's all I'm going to say.
As an immigrant to this country, I would like to say a few words to my fellow Americans, to our friends around the world about the events of recent days. Now, I grew up in Austria. I'm very aware of Kristallnacht, or the Night of Broken Glass. It was a night of rampage against the Jews carried out in 1938 by the Nazi equivalent of the Proud Boys.
Oh no. Okay, hold on.
Wednesday was the day of broken glass right here in the United States.
False. Wrong. I gotta issue a correction because this is important. All right. The Night of the Broken Glass is a horrifying night, and it's one in which I believe over 200 synagogues, over 200, I think it was like something like 235 or something, were smashed, destroyed. Jewish businesses destroyed. Jewish individuals torn asunder, ripped from their homes, thrown into the street. Horrifying event in German history. But that was not what happened. The insurrection is not the Night of the Broken Glass. It's a different moment in history that happened. This is called the Putsch. My apologies for my pronunciation to my fellow German comrades. The Putsch, also known as the Munich Putsch, was a failed coup d'etat by the Nazi Party. Leader Adolf Hitler and Erich Ludendorff and others, leaders in the Munich Bavaria, in 1923 during the Weimar Republic, approximately 2,000 Nazis marched along the Filberhalle, don't even want to try and know how bad that was, in the city center, but they were confronted by a police cordon, which resulted in the death of 16 Nazi party members and 4 police officers. Hitler, who was wounded during the clash, escaped immediate arrest and was spirited off to safety in the countryside. After 2 days, he was arrested and charged with treason. The Putsch brought Hitler to the attention of the German nation for the first time and generated front-page headlines in newspapers and around the world. His arrest was followed by a 24-day trial, which was widely publicized and gave him a platform to express his nationalist sentiments to the nation. Hitler was found guilty of treason and was sentenced to 5 years in Langsberg prison, where he dictated Mein Kampf to fellow prisoners Emil Maurice and Rudolf Hess. On the 20th of December 1924, having served only 9 months, Hitler was released. Once released, Hitler redirected his focus towards obtaining power through legal means rather than by revolution or force, and accordingly changed his tactics, further developing Nazi propaganda. Now, why this is all important? Well, let's say this. One thing, this is certainly what brought Hitler to the public attention. Like, Trump was already well known, okay? Trump and Hitler are not the same. There's not going to be a direct comparison between the two as Godwin's law as I'd like to be right now. But anyways, it was a failed coup attempt. That's what it was. And they had a failed coup attempt as well. Now, that doesn't mean that Hitler assumed power purely through political means. He did start the Nazi Party. The Nazi Party was voted into a minority in Germany, and then utilizing the Reichstag fire as a catalyst, they then assumed and took power. So it's not as if that old adage, the Nazis were voted in by the people. You can't trust people, darling. Well, no, not quite. The Nazis were voted in by the people, but they weren't voted in as a majority party, and they weren't voted in to have complete control. They took that, and that's basically how a dictatorship begins. But that's why, comparing the two, because the Night of the Broken Glass is obviously something that is something easy to pull up and stew emotions, right? If you hear about it, especially if you're a member of the Jewish community, when you hear that and you then draw a comparison to what had occurred, you'll be like, holy shit, that's dark. Well, yeah.
The broken glass was in the windows of the United States Capitol. But the mob did not just shatter the windows of the Capitol. They shattered the ideals we took for granted. They did not just break down the doors of the building that housed the American democracy, they trampled the very principles on which our country was founded. Now, I grew up in the ruins of a country.
Now, I know this has gone really viral, And I understand why. Like, it's fun. Not only does he give this this speech, it's rousing. It's, you know, it's the Terminator, it's Conan, it's an American darling child who is obviously a terrible governor, but still he's an American acting hero, and he's the icon of the American dream, right? If you too work hard and play by the rules, you can grow up to be someone who cheats on his wife with his maid and then gets a divorce. That's just part of the American ethos, and it's been codified into everyone's understanding of the world. So I understand why they loved this and they were all excited about it. But please take the history with a grain of salt, okay?
That suffered the loss of its democracy. I was born in 1947, 2 years after the Second World War. Growing up, I was surrounded by broken men.
Okay, I'll speed it up, but I'm slowing it down when he pulls out the motherfucking sword, all right? As much as I'm like, well, come on, this is manufacturing consent, and this is kind of jingoistic, and he's actually not correct. This is kind of pseudo-historical at best. I'm a sucker as soon as that sword comes out. Son, are you kidding me? I want that sword forged in iron and steel myself, okay? Teach me more. Tell me more about what this country was founded on. It wasn't founded on slave owners. No, I don't want to know about that. They didn't have slaves. They didn't rape the slaves on a repeated basis. No, they're heroes. They're all, you know,
drinking away their guilt over their participation in the most evil regime in history. Not all of them were rabid anti-Semites or Nazis. Many just went along, step by step, down the road. They were the people next door. Now, I've never shared this so publicly because...
What up, Trekkie? Everyone would give Trekkie a follow.
But my father would come home drunk, once or twice a week, and he would scream and hit us and scare my mother. I did not hold him totally responsible because our neighbor was doing the same thing to his family, and so was the next neighbor over. I heard it with my own ears and saw it with my own eyes. They were in physical pain from the shrapnel in their bodies and in emotional pain from what they saw or did. It all started with lies and lies and lies and intolerance. So being from Europe, I've seen firsthand how things can spin out of control. I know there is a fear in this country and all over the world that something like this could happen right here. Now, I do not believe it is, but I do believe that we must be aware of the dire consequences of...
Trekkie69 is Jewish himself, so yes, he's taking personal offense to this. If you watch the VOD, I've already gone through that. It's a very false comparison, but I'm going to let this play out until we get to the sword.
President Trump sought to overturn the results of an election, and of a fair election. He sought a coup by misleading people with lies. My father and our neighbors were misled also with lies, and I know where such lies lead. President Trump is a failed leader.
Oh, yes.
He will go down in history as the worst president ever. The good thing is that he soon will be as irrelevant as an old tweet. But what are we to make of those elected officials who have enabled his lies and his treachery? I will remind them of what Teddy Roosevelt said. Patriotism means to stand by the country. It does not mean to stand by the president. Now, John F. Kennedy wrote a book called Profiles in Courage. A number of members of my own party, because of their own spinelessness, would never see their names in such a book, I guarantee you. They're complicit with those who carried the flag of self-righteous insurrection into the Capitol. But it did not work. Our democracy held firm. Within hours, the Senate and the House of Representatives were doing the people's business and certifying the election of President-elect Biden. What a great display of democracy. Now, I grew up Catholic. I went to church, to Catholic school. I learned the Bible.
Yeah, we're going to the sword. Okay, here we go. Slowing it down for the sword, y'all.
As heartbreaking as all of this is, America will come back from these dark days and shine our lights once again. Now you see this sword? This is the Conan sword.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing about swords. The more you temper a sword, the stronger it becomes. The more you pound it with the hammer and then heat it in the fire and then thrust it into the cold water and then pound it again and plunge it into the fire and into the water, the more often you do that,
fire into the water, the fire into the water, and then more fire into the water.
You become an expert sword maker.
I apologize. I can't. I'm sorry, Austrians. It's just it's impossible. All right. He's talking about forging. He's talking about metallurgy. Did you? I'm only human. There's only so much one can take. There's only so much metallurgy out of Arnold Schwarzenegger I can listen to before it just. I apologize. I'm weak.
But
unlike the sword, which is strong because of you get it.
Our democracy is like the steel of this sword. the more it is tampered, the stronger it becomes.
Unfortunately, the opposite is true, because it seems like things are just getting decidedly worse. I mean, like, let's just gerrymander the entire United States into the alphabet. That one's not a bit, by the way. You can actually, there's an alphabet made up of gerrymandered states. Let's see. Oh, yeah, it's a font. Hee hee. Oh, Washington Poe, why you do me like that? Here we go. Look at this. This is cute. K is a little scuffed. K is pretty scuffed. I would take this L though. This looks like a badass L. That's New York. Ah, the 7th district. Yep. The 8th district is the M as well. I don't know Arizona. This is a bit of a reach. This is a scuffed ass O. All right. Yeah, these ones are good. V. Some of these look pretty metal. Oh my god, the Texas one looks like someone dancing. Like one of those top hat dudes dancing. Like, hello my honey, hello my baby, hello my rain-time bow. Sorry, I shouldn't be interrupting.
Our democracy has been tempered by wars, injustices, and insurrections. I believe, as shaken as we are by the events of recent days, we will come out stronger because we now understand what can be lost. We need reforms, of course, so that this never ever happens again. We need to hold accountable the people that brought...
I would like to see that. I would now like to propose the Nazi amendment. Yes, we need reform. Yes, it says that Nazis cannot come to power in the United States, and we'd like to see that. Anyone to tack on anything to the Nazi amendment? And I think we're ready to vote.
Brought us to this unforgivable point. And we need to look past ourselves, our parties and disagreements, and put our democracy first.
Are you going to keep talking and say nothing but no more sword? That's it? There's no more sword? Oh, there's so little sword in this. There's barely any sword. This is all edge, no release. God damn it. Well, let's just watch the Conan scene then. Conan, what is happening? God damn it. Wrong Conan, internet.
Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of your women. That is good. That is good.
All right. We learned something today. What? I'm not sure.
If you want us to advertise your channel or work, please go to weareserfs.com and email us a 20 to 30 second ad, and we'll take it on to the end of one of our videos to help promote your leftist channel or progressive something. Whatever you do.
To our gods, I'm Raph, Xander Corvus, and Schlatsky. We shall build golden idols in your honor. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, you have our undying fealty. To our lords, Jeffrey Lamb, Trevor R., Hans Josephin, C. Bartlett, Jimothy K. Meeple Beeps Jr., Bisexual Black Gamer, and Trofox, we shall carry your banners onto the battlefield. To our Knights of the Round Table, Josh Mickelson, Dylan Byte, Zach Christensen, Todd Buckingham, Todd Lajeunesse, Political Puppy, Jimmy Bignuts, Andreas Chitoro, Good Poon Hates Cops, That's Solid Poon Then, Dr. Zayas, Yoppie, Violent Orchard, Sophie Baby, Thomas Barrington, J. Fraser Cartwright, Goofalankius, Melissa Murphy, Nicholas Marks, Alexander Thaler, Ali Rada Jafer, Alex Gauvin, Radical Maniac, The Great Houdini, and Callie Kotka. We salute you.